Well, we should do this one because I have 5.5 pages of notes.
You have 5.5 pages. Let me look at one. One and a quarter.
1.25. Well, I hope you wrote down all the jokes.
No, but I do have comments about the jokes.
You didn't write down all the jokes because I was reading about it and they were talking. Well, we'll do this on the thing.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's Hey Watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hey Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
Each week on this show, we watch a movie, then we talk about a movie, and I think this week we're going to disagree about a movie.
We might indeed.
This week, I picked the movie, and I picked the worst science fiction movie of all time, John Carter from 2012. 2 hours and 50. It's a science fiction Western
adventure. Fantasy adventure.
Faux adventure movie.
Faux adventure.
Because there's no adventure in the adventure movie.
Fine, there's a little adventure. Come on, he jumps all over the place. He's like a sweet little grasshopper.
This is a movie that everybody blamed the title being the problem, the marketing being the problem, the trailer being the problem, the reshoots being the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was the problem except
I agree with 3 of those.
All the movie's problems.
I agree with 3 of those things.
Oh, you're angry about the title?
I'm not angry about the title.
Oh, okay.
I think that it was a mistake. Because if you don't know anything about who or what John Carter is, you don't know anything about this movie at all.
Yeah.
Like, you're not interested. And the trailer that they dropped, did you go back and watch what they dropped on Good Morning America? I mean, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
I watched the 2 trailers. The first trailer doesn't have any of the Tharks in it. No Green Man.
No,
like
dude,
none.
It is nothing. You watch that and you're like, I have no idea what this movie is about. Or at least you think you might know what it's about, but you don't know what it's about, having seen it. Well, it's weird.
They intercut the Old West stuff with the Mars stuff in a way that you're just like,
without
why
you
would
really
you, why
know.
would you,
Exactly.
Why would you cut that? You know,
if you don't know it already, Dan, you're not going to realize that those are 2 different planets, and you're like, what the fuck is happening right now?
And they use different stock on them too.
100%. It's super weird. That was a terrible choice. So I agree with that as well.
The trailers, yeah, but I mean. Just that's what makes it a bad movie. It's the movie that makes it a bad movie. It's not what
makes it a bad movie, but it does make it so nobody sees your bad movie opening weekend. You know what I mean? Because bad movies can still have a good opening, and then people are like, wait a second, this movie's not very good. And then it goes down, right? Your second week drop-off is what makes or breaks a movie. But when nobody sees your movie opening weekend, because everyone's like, what is this? Why would I see this movie? That's a marketing problem.
Yes, but what makes or breaks a movie is whether or not the movie is good.
And this is where we're going to disagree. I don't think this is a bad movie. I don't think this is a good movie. This movie is exactly how I feel about Taylor Kitsch in general, which is fine. It's just fine.
There are lots of people that sit through the Lord of the Rings movies and enjoy them. And I understand.
am not one of those people, but I know they exist because my wife is one.
And there are people that sit through this John Carter movie and enjoy it. But as a movie that you're going to think about, this is not there's nothing in this movie to think about.
No. Well, there's a little bit to think about. Like, what is this 9th ray? Why are there weird magic powers? I'm very confused. There's things like that you can think about.
There you go. But there's you don't come away with this going like, that's a character. It's not a character I want to sit down with again. It's not a world I want to go to again. There's nobody here except Cantos, Jade Purifoy. He's the only character in this whole movie that I'm like, wait, he's gone. He's the guy. What's his name? His name's like Michael Purifoy or something. Oh. He plays the guy that makes John Carter take him prisoner and then get over to see Deja Thoris at the sort of 2/3 of the way through.
Yep. Okay. Copy.
And he was in a TV show where he played like Hannibal Lecter, super serial killer, and then Kevin Bacon was chasing him. And he was so good in that movie, and he's so good in this. And then you're just like, where is that guy? I'll never see him in anything.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, he's the one who understood how to make a character in the midst of all these other non-characters that you don't want to spend any time with.
Yeah, I think so. Like a big problem for me. Problem's not the right word, because you and I are going to use problem differently today. But
Sure.
like a big problem for me is that Taylor Kitsch is very. Am I saying his name right? I feel bad,
Sure,
but I'm pretty sure it's right.
Taylor Kitsch.
We'll just call him TK. So TK is very bland in this movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's a conduit for the story, and that's all. He's not able to rise above the story and be like a charming Han Solo-y type character, which I feel like is the vibe they're going for. They start okay with the scene where he's in prison and he keeps trying to escape prison over and over. Like, he's so dumb, but like so gung-ho to fight. Like, he's like, I'm going to keep trying, and I fail. Keep trying. That's really funny. And I was like, okay, this is going to be like a nice setup to a character. And then we just lose that. Like, that doesn't do anything for the rest of the movie. It doesn't. It's weird. Because at the kernel, I was like, I'm in. Okay, this is interesting. This is a guy that I could follow for a movie. And then he's nothing the rest of the movie. He's just a walking body, which, by the way, he got in great shape. He looks real nice in the movie.
He looks good.
I'm confused on why they let him be so pale.
Oh, because they wanted to differentiate him.
I mean,
between him and the red, because the red Martians are the humans. Right? Yeah,
I get it, but he's so pale. Like, this is a guy that's never seen the sun, and he's out in Mars. Are they closer to the sun? Are they further away from the sun? I honestly don't know the answer.
The truth of the matter is, Mars is cold.
You get color.
Mars is cold.
It didn't look very cold.
Further out. Did it? That's my. I'm writing a Space Duck story right now that I'm putting it on Mars, and I realize I make Mars hot. Right? Okay. I sort of the movie Dune and Mars. I kind of squished the two of them together, even though Mars is further out, and so it's a much colder planet. I imagine it's a desert planet, and they always said that there were canals, and so I always assumed that they had a water problem, and so I always assumed if you have a water problem and the problem it's breaking down, it's going to be hotter, it's going to be miserable. This movie, there's one sandstorm, but otherwise weather means nothing.
It means nothing, but I will tell you that they're dressed in a way that says that it's not cold. Because nobody wears real clothes. They're all wearing, weird strappies for their outfits.
In the books, everybody naked.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'm going to have to read this book.
It's a very different Disney movie.
Yeah. And so, have you read the book by any chance?
No.
All right. I am curious on how Disney-fied it is, because one thing that, and we very briefly talked about this last night, is it's much sillier than I imagined it was going to be. Not silly fun, but like silly, like, this is a children's movie.
Books not at all like that. That's what I figured. The books are just straight up pulp. This is the Edgar Rice Burroughs. He wrote Tarzan, so these are pulpy books.
Yeah.
Very, very war. There's, they say, I guess I read the plot synopsis of a number of them. A lot of slavery, a lot of, the green men love to torture people. So I'm sure they torture people and do terrible, terrible things. And the green people are supposed to not have emotions, like no emotions, except Tars has some emotions.
And they didn't do that at all.
No, of course not. And that's the thing that's especially annoying about this thing is they really deviated from the source material in a sense that you don't really have the story that there is. John Carter pretty much falls in love with her as soon as he meets her. And
as you would.
He's like, whoa, okay. And, in this thing, they have a whole weird, dumb backstory about him losing a wife. And then
is that made up, you think?
Oh, I don't think that. I mean, maybe that was in the later books, but that was not in the first book at all.
Okay, because that felt super weird and disjointed to me. Like you're happily plotting along this movie, and all of a sudden you get a flashback to a family you've never met, and then a house is burnt. And he's like, "Are you alive?" And they're not. And it's why? It's completely unnecessary to this story. Like it has no bearing on his character or story that I need.
In the book, he's just out treasure hunting post Civil War.
Sure,
finds the cave of gold, or ends up there when he runs away from the Apaches, and then he just gets mystically transported. He doesn't kill a Thune or whatever they are. He doesn't kill one of those guys. None of that happens, and so they answer too many questions with this stupid movie.
Yeah.
There's
not a lot of mystery to it. That's true.
He understands immediately that this is a magic amulet that transports him back and forth. And the only thing he wants to do is get back and get his gold. It's like, well, if that's who the guy is, I want to see that guy.
Yeah. What's interesting is he does say that a couple times in the movie, but it doesn't fit his character. Yeah. And so every time he says it in the movie, I'm like, what are you talking about? What gold guy? You're not even a guy that's interested in gold. And then what's funny to me is that it kind of turns out he's not interested in gold. Because at the end of the movie, you find out what he was searching for was the amulet. Right? So like he's even...
Oh, no, at the end, he has the gold, and so he's finding the amulet so he can go back because he's in love with her.
He found the gold. So it doesn't. The gold doesn't really matter in the movie because we go from him not having it to a flash forward of him having it.
Well, the premise of the movie is that he lost his family, and so all he cares about is gold, and I'm never going to care about anybody again. And then he falls in love, and then he has to fight for her.
Here's the problem.
That's the premise.
It's not the premise. I would argue.
No, it isn't.
I would say that they might posit that premise.
Yes.
But he immediately cares, Stan, because he saves the other army dude in the first fight. Like he literally goes back to save him, and the guy goes, "I thought you didn't care." That's 5 minutes into the movie that we're already questioning that he cares. That's too early. That's not a character arc. He's already there. He's already caring. It's dumb.
Yeah, that's why this movie's dumb. It's made by a Pixar guy, right? He doesn't understand movies.
Oh, Dan, coming for Pixar again.
This is the Finding Nemo guy.
Finding Nemo, it's a great movie, Dan. And it is an emotional roller coaster. Manipulative and wonderful.
Yeah, and this movie, they chose not to do that. And this is probably the movie you should have tried to do some of that.
This is definitely the movie that you should do that because we need some sort of thing to care about throughout this movie, and I don't have it.
And what this movie also did, reading up at the books, is they took stuff from the first 3 books and then put it all in here, and then also completely changed it all, so you didn't even know what was happening.
So it's just kind of a gobbledygook if you've read the books.
So like when they go to the river, you go to the river when you want to die. And then you go down. I
started to get that. Because fast forward to when they're both in captivity, him and the dad. And he's like, my daughter's in a better place. She went down the river. And I was like, wait, so the river is like the gates to the next world? Is that kind of what it is? But they don't tell you that at all.
And that's what the stupid the bald priests are supposed to be doing. They're supposed to they're like the false religion, and then they channel people down the river, and then they eat them.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do.
That's actually very interesting to me.
Very interesting. Also, not a thing you can put in a stupid Disney movie.
Well, I guess that's true.
And it's a whole giant comment on religion, even though he wasn't. Burroughs wasn't anti-religion. This movie was the books were a comment on a certain type of religion where they sell you a bill of goods, they get you to go down the river, and then they eat you. And there aren't religion. There aren't like 3, and the whole. I mean, I didn't do that much research on them, but there are thousands and thousands of these bald priests, and there's not like 3 of them that are in control of the entire universe. There's tons of them.
Okay.
And so once again, all the number, in the book, what happens is he goes there. He is stuck with the Green Men. He sort of comes up through the ranks there as a warrior. Deja Thor's crashes. They take her prisoner, and then through his machination, he gets her out basically, and then they fight Z'Danga, and those things all happen. And then at the very end, the atmosphere factory, which is this big factory that makes the air so that everyone doesn't just die.
Oh, interesting.
He goes in there to fix it, and he gets knocked out, and he gets taken back to Earth. And that's the end of the thing. He's on the planet for 9 years in the book.
Not 2 weeks.
Not 2 weeks. Has a kid. Has to learn the language. Doesn't drink language juice.
Is that you're gonna have to explain to me what happened, because one scene he can't understand, then the next scene he just goes, "I can understand you," and I was like, "Wait, what? What do you mean?"
They gave him they literally gave him language juice.
Okay, but that's not a thing. It's not a thing, Dan. So I don't believe it.
No, but it is in this thing. You can have a magic amulet that transports you, and somehow your body that's laying in a cave his body would have been laying there for 9 years.
So what's interesting is he was definitely laying there for a while, though, because when he wakes up, the guy's a skeleton. How long does it take a body to become a skeleton?
I wasn't paying attention. The other guy was a skeleton.
That he is a fucking skeleton. Like, literal bones are out. I don't understand what's happening. To me, that's a lot longer than 9 years. How long does it take for a body to decompose?
I'm telling you this. You know what happens to bodies? Critters come in there and get on them, and his
eat
body.
them all up.
His body would not have survived. Something would have come and ate it. So, okay, whatever. Oh, Jesus. I love this movie. I'm Tony. Yeah?
Wait, that can't be right.
25 years?
No.
An hour?
A body will decompose quite slowly because maggots are the most voracious flesh eaters. Although an exposed human body in optimum conditions, it does not tell me what optimum conditions are, can be reduced to bone in 10 days.
Yeah, that makes sense. If there's critters chomping on it and stuff.
A buried body retains most of its tissue for a year. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So 10 days to a year.
So somewhere in that spectrum is where we are, I suppose.
So we start the movie. We have what's his name? The guy that you think's name is Z'Danga, but really his name is like Seb. The names are terrible.
Yeah, names are not great. Yeah.
They're just terrible.
It's tough.
They're tough. Terrible from top to bottom. They should have. I don't know. It
was 100 years ago, Dan. Let's cut them a little slack, maybe. I don't know. I don't read a lot of old books.
It's like the Star Wars names. At a certain point, you're just like, oh my god, is this another Star Wars name? Oh my god, what is? It's like a 9-year-old made this shit up.
Zabulba.
So, what's his name? The bad guy, Z'Danga, king of the Z'Dangas. He gets visited by the few. What are they? They're Therns. What are they called? I wrote it down up here really big so I wouldn't lose it. Therns. The Therns come to him and they're like, here's the 9th ray. It's a magic weapon that you can shoot everybody to death with. He lives in a big city that walks for some reason.
Yeah, it walks, and I thought it also devoured things. I thought they said something about that, but then we don't do any of that. It does walk a little.
They say that it's walked all over the planet and destroyed everything. And you're like,
I don't know.
These guys have destroyed everything?
Are you sure about that?
I don't think so.
They doesn't look like that.
They don't seem so great.
No.
So they give him the magic blue power that he could zap people with, and that really doesn't come into play very much.
He does it a couple times, zap people. Now, do we think that's from the book? That seems too much to me.
I mean, maybe it's from the books. I didn't. The things I read in the first couple of things, I did not see anything about a magic blue ray that is given to somebody so they can zap other people.
Yeah, it feels weird for this story because it doesn't really matter. Again, it's one of those things that it's in the movie, but it doesn't have any consequence to what happens later in the movie.
The one thing I found in one of the books, they talked about this war happening, and they were like, okay. And we've got 10,000 ships, and we have 100,000 men, and we got 5,000 of this ships and 2,000 of this ships, and so the scale of the books was absurdly large.
Sure.
Yes.
This is like there's like a couple hundred dudes.
A couple hundred dudes. That's all we got. It's like a small.
We got one ship.
Helium's like a small town.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so he's Zodanga, the Predator City. They're fighting against Heliod. There's lots of yelling. We can't tell who the bad guys are. We can't tell who the good guys are.
Yeah.
And it just sort of ends. And we're like, oh, we met a lot of people. We don't care about them. There was fighting. We don't care. We don't learn names. We don't learn about them. We don't care. No.
What's interesting, Dan, is there's a lot of movies out there that use like a cheat code to make sure you know who the bad guys are, right? They make the bad guy do something, really bad that's usually slightly out of character just to prove to you how bad they are. This movie does the opposite, where everyone's just kind of neutral and they're just like, we're in a war, right? Like we're fighting, but nobody is the good or the bad. Like we're just kind of fighting. And it means nothing to me.
They look the same. They all have the same tattoos that make it look like they have blood on their face. The facial tattoos, whoever did that, fired from their job. Fired from the job. The costumes look like plastic. They look very cheap.
And they're very clean. In a world that they've made to look like a sand desert, like they are all pristinely clean. The white feathers that the one guy wears, they're the whitest of whites. How do you do that? I have white tennis shoes. They're like black by like day 2. I don't understand how that. I don't know. They must have great wash care. You know what I'm saying? They figured something out.
It's not good. So we have setup A, which is John Carter has died. He's contacted his nephew to come. He's given his nephew all his money, and he's like, nephew, here's my mausoleum. The key's on the inside, but read this book, and this book will tell you what's going on. Then he starts reading the book, and 13 years ago, he was out in the post-Civil War. Let's see, gets in a bar fight. He's looking for a cave of gold. He gets grabbed by the military, taken to a fort, and they're all like, we're gonna force you to work for us. Doesn't make any sense. He finally escapes. No, it doesn't
make a lick of sense.
He finally escapes, and then they chase him, and then they run into the Apaches, and then some guy shoots at the Apaches, and then all hell breaks loose, and then he runs into the hills, and he has to save the captain guy, who's Bryan Cranston of all people, which he shouldn't.
Doing a great job, by the way.
Very good. Bryan Cranston, great actor.
Yeah. Like I said, the scene where he's in jail and him and Cranston are kind of facing off, I actually enjoyed it. I liked it.
It was snappy. They were like, you're never getting out of here. And then he does the thing, gets out of there. You're never getting out of there. Jumps out a window. It keeps on escaping. And you're like, this is going to be a hard guy to keep track of.
Yeah. And then it's not. turns out it's super easy.
Ends up in the cave, finds the gold. Then so the captain died.
Well, he got shot.
Yeah,
he was shot, and he was like rescuing him. So he probably just bled out because John Carter fucking leaves him there for an extended amount of time.
Oh, you're saying the third was the skeleton. So a third materializes in the cave, and John Carter fights with him, I guess, and then steals his medallion, takes the medallion, and it goes whoop. I guess the other guy must have said the magic words right as he grabbed it from him. I don't know.
I don't know about that, but
And then he goes to Mars. He wakes up laying at Mars, looks around. This is Mars. Mars looks like the American Southwest. There's some plants that look slightly different than our plants. This was the point at which you need to sell us that we're on a
a different planet. Yeah, 100%. We need to wake up, and we, the audience, need to be bewildered and entrenched in mystery and wonder and awe because we're on a foreign planet. That's how we have to do it. As much as I hate Avatar, right?
Oh,
creating that world is the one thing that Cameron knocks out of the park. Like Sully walks out into this world and you're like, fuck, this is a different place and it's beautiful and it's wonderful and I'm intrigued. And yeah, they squander it and throw it in the trash, but the setup is good, like the intro is there. And that you have to feel that in a sci-fi type movie, I have to be like, what is this place? I want to be here.
He has to look over and see that the way that erosion occurs is different here. He has to see, this thing fly over on him and, get him. And he looks at it and it has 17 legs and 14 eyes. Right. And he's like, what the fuck is this? But it's not. You're just like, no. It's just in a place. I zoomed through all that first stuff because we got too much to get through. Mars looks like the Southwest. Then he has to play around and figure out his jumping. He's like, it's hard to jump. And then he's, and the jumping, I don't know.
Like visually or just the idea of it?
Visually.
I mean, listen, it's hard because we can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a real thing. So I don't know how to do that and make it look good. But either do they. The people making the movie also didn't figure it out. And in my defense, that's not my job. That is their job.
I went and watched, what I always do, because this is, we're going to have the patented arena scene where they have to fight something big in an arena.
Yeah.
And I should have gone and watched the Star Wars one where they have to, all the Jedi are in the arena. I didn't go and watch that one, but I went and watched Thor Ragnarok, which is the quintessential arena scene.
Yeah, that's too good, Dan. You went too far.
It's too good, but Thor is a normal-sized human being who is essentially has the same powers as John Carter, right?
That's interesting. Didn't think about that. Yeah, okay.
You watch it in there, you never question the physics of Thor jumping around.
Sure.
You're always, with Hulk jumping around, you always buy it. In this one, it just seems, I don't know, maybe it's because they do it on a lot of long shots. They really like these long shots, but you never feel it. And they're really like, whoosh, they're very Superman-y.
Sure, yeah.
And he doesn't have a weight to him.
Right, but isn't that the point? I don't know. I don't understand space.
Yeah, because he's denser. So if you were to push on him, you wouldn't be, he's like a brick. He's like lead. He's like
John
a big
Carter?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because he gets tossed around a bunch.
Exactly. He should be, in my opinion, because they say you have denser bones, right? So he has to be built in a denser way. And so punching him should, they do.
Well, in general, I am confused by his physics because the first time he throws a punch on the planet, he kills somebody, right? They're like, you killed him with one blow. He punches a bunch of dudes throughout the rest of this movie. He doesn't kill another single person.
That guy hit his head. He flew across the room.
That's what it is?
He flew across the room and hit his head.
All right.
And because it's a Disney movie. And so he does kill a lot of things, but I mean, he goes right through the ape, right?
Yeah.
He has a sword, but he goes right through it.
Yeah. Well, it did sit on him in his defense, Dan.
Yeah. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. Okay. So he's learning it. He gets to the birthing center, looks down in there, sees a bunch of Martians hatching from eggs. Green Martians. Just to let you know, red Martians also hatch from eggs.
Okay, great. Good to know.
In case you're wondering, he and Dacia Thoris, she pops out an egg. And
I'm intrigued. I would see it.
Some Martian finds...
What makes that weirder to me is that means that she lays eggs too, then.
Yeah, she lays eggs.
With the chicken and the egg scenario.
She has an ovipositor.
I think I'm in.
Tony's like, hey, honey, if you got to lay eggs, I'll watch.
Sign me up. Sign me up. Let's do it.
Might even film it.
Whoa, not without consent, Dan. Come on.
Yeah, might even film me. That's what she said. She's like, yeah,
okay,
sure.
Got it. Then sure, let's do it.
One of the Martians, Tars, picks up the amulet, and then one of them tries to shoot at John. So we meet the Martians. Tarkus, our main Martian protagonist, is only impressed by he's like, oh, you can jump. He does not react at all to meeting green Martians.
He's fine. No, he's fine. He's from the South, Dan. He has seen a lot of weird shit. Okay.
You would lose your... we have whole movies built on somebody seeing a Martian and losing their minds.
He is not nearly as fish out of water as he needs to be. From old-timey South to this futuristic dystopia. The only thing that he questions is jumping. He's like, boy, this is weird. Not the aliens. Aliens is fine. But did you see me jump? It's weird. I don't know. It's bizarre.
I guess he saw hatching aliens, so now he's like,
now he gets it. He's immediately on board. Got it.
And then Tars, the only thing he cares about is do the jump again. Do the jump again. And you're like,
sure.
What? Why do you care?
When I find a pet, I like to make them do tricks as well. So I get it.
So let's see. So what happens? So do the jump. And then...
Which is, by the way, an interesting scene in itself to me is the learning of the language, which then we throw away immediately, right? Like in the next scene, he learns how to speak the language fluently. But I like this, peka, whatever he says, jump. And then he figures it out and then, tries to do it to kill him because that's the last time we see that John Carter.
Yes. This movie is going to have just a series of throwing in jails. This is your classic, we caught you, we could kill you, but instead we're just going to throw you in jail. When you have a death sentence on your head, instead of the death sentence, we're throwing you in jail.
Yeah, it's fine.
And the other thing is, John Carter can break through any chains.
Not true.
There was a chain that he couldn't break through?
Yeah, he didn't break through the one in the arena. He had to break the rock.
Oh, yeah, that chain, the rock, as opposed to the chains that you could just take a sword and go, sword. I got to tell you something, Tony. Let me tell you something.
Please enlighten me, Dan.
You hit a chain with a sword? Who wins? It's not the sword. It's the chain.
No, it's the chain. It's the chain.
Not in this movie. I got to get you out of here. Chain gone. This is you just sit there going what is happening? Why are we doing this?
Well, it's alien metals, Dan. To be fair, you don't understand the makeup of the Mars metals. All right? No. You haven't seen the periodic table of Mars. So you don't know.
They're all made out of mercury. Half mercury. a lot of poisoning going on there.
A lot of poison everywhere. That's tough stuff.
So they just capture him again somehow. I don't even know what they did. They probably just slapped him one time and he fell over. And, he's either killing people with a punch or they're
just getting the shit kicked out of him. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Is he stronger than them or is he not stronger than them? And the one later guy, he just cuts his head off instantaneously. So it seems like...
oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that a little bit more.
So now we cut to Deja Thoris, who's the princess of Mars. She lives in helium. She has invented the ninth ray that they're doing the Blu-ray.
Not invented, but discovered it on her own, I think, is what it is. The Therns, is that the god people? Is that what's his name? Mark Shepard? Is that who that is?
Sure.
I don't know. The Therns have discovered this element, we'll call it, and then she has also discovered it, and they're like, whoa, how could that happen? Or something.
Yeah.
But she didn't invent it.
She invented it on her own. There are parallel levels of discovery.
You don't invent a ninth ray, okay? You discover it. And she has a machine that's going to prove that it exists. And then one of the Therns is like, nope, not today. Bzz, short circuit.
Okay, so she invented a machine that could shoot the ninth
Agreed.
ray. Is that
All right, continue. That's great, Dan.
We're talking about invention here. I'm Tony Master. I know about inventions.
Listen. If people haven't seen the movie, they think she's invented the ray. She didn't invent the ray. She discovered it with a machine she invented. Totally different semantics, Dan.
Have to mansplain to her what she did. Let me tell you.
We're gonna get crucified in the comments for all of our misleading verbiage. Okay.
How much more science does she do in this movie?
0 to 1. I'm trying to think. Does she do another one?
She knows the magic words. Klaatu Barada Nikdu. She knows.
Is
the magic
that
words.
Science or is that magic?
That is science because she knows she could read the words and he could.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. You're right.
They didn't give him magic reading potion. Maybe in movie 2 they were planning on doing that.
Which potion is going to let me read this one? I don't know. Take them all.
This was a planned trilogy. Stanton had all 3 of them worked out, and he even in a thing on a podcast was like, "Let me tell you how we're going to start number 2." That never happened.
Oh, I would love to hear that because let me tell you right now, Dan, my favorite part of this movie is the ending.
Oh, it's the only good part of the whole movie.
Oh, okay. Well, then we agree. Well, I mean, not that it's the only good part, but it is the best part of this movie. And I was like, that's an interesting concept that you just delivered in the last 3 minutes. Where's that for the rest of the movie?
He was tricky.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe you could have made him tricky in the movie.
Right? Clever. He's clever. Oh. Like he set a trap, delivered it, and I don't know. All right, we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it later.
Okay. So the men come in, Kanto's Khan, there's a border massacre, helium is lost. He's just like, but I got this magic weapon. And she's like, it can restore the seas. Don't know how a weapon that kills people is going to restore the seas, but
doesn't make any sense.
So she turns on the machine, and then one of the thirds is there in disguise, and he just short circuits it with his finger, and it doesn't work. And she's all like, "Gosh, I guess that's never going to work. I should abandon my research."
But not only her, everyone else also is like, "Okay, well, this was a waste of time. Let's get out of here." And the dad's just like, "Anyhow, you're gonna get married now." It's a really weird scene with 0 transition. It's just like, yep. This machine that was clearly sort of working, has a couple of bugs still, maybe at best. Like, no, it's done. It's out. It's done. Like my whole life's work down the tube. I can't believe it.
I tested it once. It didn't work. Throw it in the trash.
And that's science. If it doesn't work the first time, you quit.
I can't paint the Mona Lisa. I guess I'll never paint again. That is exactly what happens in this scene. You're just like, okay, have her fiddle with it some more and have something
never
actually
touch
happen.
It again. Don't do it.
Absolutely not. And then she, you got to get married, and she's like, okay, I'll do it, I guess.
I don't know. Weird scene.
They get to the Thark City. Everybody grabs at the babies. They loose the babies, and the women just grab for the babies and grab random babies.
What a weird, interesting idea that isn't really explored. But like I'm assuming that's from the books, and I just find that's like an interesting, like a communal birthing where there's no real parents. It's just like whoever you get. I don't know. That's interesting.
I really thought what was going to happen was John Carter was going to be Sola's baby.
Sure.
Even though I'd seen this movie before, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to have what we're going to have now is Sola's going to take John Carter as her baby. She's going to have to keep him in line, and he's going to have to through her hard work of him being an asshole, she's going to have to tame him so that he's her child.
Yeah,
and
that's really
that is
smart.
the way over a couple of months you're going to introduce into their thing. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, not even a little bit.
Nope. They immediately, here, drink this. Now you speak our language.
Yeah.
They shave him and bathe him. They give him translation juice, and then he gets Woola, the Martian dog, who is just unattractively ugly.
Oh, I think it's cute, Dan. It's like it's one of those things. It's like it's so ugly, only a mother could love it. But I'll be that mother. Why
wouldn't you make something that you could make a toy of?
That's a great question. especially when you're Disney / Pixar working on this. Like, you understand that. You've done that for a very long time. I have no idea. It just goes to the same for the rest of the movie, Dan. Like, the marketing behind the movies is zero. It's an absolute zero. Also, why does the dog love him? I didn't understand.
Just because they needed like some other random thing to occur at random times to like save the day randomly.
Yeah, I just, there should be he should save it from something, or feed it, or just feed it. Maybe people don't feed it very often, and he feeds it, and it's like, wow, you fed me, I love you. Give me anything, not just hey, I love you.
It sure seems like if you had a dog that could run 1,000 miles an hour and do everything, like that would be a worthwhile creature, right? It wouldn't just be like they look at it like, why would you want that thing? It only can kill things and run 1,000 miles an hour and do anything. Well,
right? Lame. Who wants that drama?
Yeah, it's very weird.
I don't know. Yeah, super bizarre.
Oh, somebody beats on the dog and he kills that guy. So they were beating on the dog. Yes. So he kills him.
But the dog was already his friend.
Yeah, already picked it as his friend.
That's my problem. If the first scene is him being an animal lover and just seeing this happen and saving the dog, then the dog loves him, I'm all for it. But the dog was barking at him already. Yeah. Like, it was like, I'm already playing with you, guy. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't like it.
The next day they brand Sola. This is her final brand. If she does it one more time, then she's in big trouble. Third strike. Or 10,000 strike.
I think it was way more than,
10,000.
It was like your 20th strike. Your whole body's covered in marks. We have no room left. You're out.
So they're all standing there, and we see this. There's a big battle in the sky of the flyers, and one of them's Deja. She's running away. The bad guys are coming to get her. And then John Carter jumps up there and kills everybody, right?
Well, I don't know if he kills everybody, because this is my favorite part of the second favorite part of the movie, probably, where he steals her sword and is ma'am, get behind me. And then he gets the shit kicked out of him. Again, confusing, because he should be killing everybody. I don't know. But he gets beat up, and then she picks up the sword, kills everybody, and he gets to say the line, I guess I should stand behind you, which is a wonderful moment for these two characters that means absolutely nothing for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, because those aren't the characters they're playing.
That is correct.
He is not a fun, happy-go-lucky,
nope.
He should be having fun. If he was having fun in this whole movie, we'd be like, oh, he's having fun. Wouldn't you have fun?
Well, he's supposed to be on an adventure, Dan. It's a fantasy adventure, right?
No adventure. That was the one fun part where you're like, oh, it's gonna be fun now. And you're like, nope, not gonna be fun.
No, he should be having the time of his life. Why does he even want to get back? He doesn't seem to enjoy it, Dan.
Well, the other sort of subplot of this movie, or not subplot, kind of character thing, is that everybody wants John Carter because he's this great warrior, right? So the Tharks want him.
But is he?
And he is. He kills lots of people in this movie.
Sometimes he's a terrible warrior. He goes back and forth very fluidly.
Yeah, because they have to have him lose so scenes will end, right?
Right? How do we get out of this? I don't know. Knock him out. But doesn't he kill everybody? Don't worry about it. Knock him out.
That's what you have to do in a movie like this, and that's why it doesn't work.
Think so.
We have to knock him out and put him in prison. And then once he's in prison, he'll just break the chains and leave.
Right. Like, well, how did we get him into the chains then, guys? I don't understand what's happening.
So the Tharks, I think, shoot at the things at one point, and then everything crashes. Deja Thoris is there, and she becomes John Carter's property, sort of. And then they're like, you fight for us now, John Carter. And he's like, I don't fight for anybody. And they like,
which is confusing because he used to, right? He was in the army.
Well, no, he jumped out that window. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He wants
he
gold.
Doesn't want to do it anymore, but he did do it.
Doesn't want to do it now, and that's the line is he's no longer fighting, even though he just decided to be heroic and go and save her.
He fights all the time.
Yeah,
which is why his character doesn't make sense. He saves the general in that first scene. Shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
He jumps right into danger to save her. That doesn't make sense for a guy that doesn't fight anymore. Like, just don't do that storyline. Let him be a guy that likes fighting. That's probably who he is, right? Like, he's probably a guy that's like, I feel most alive when I'm fucking shit up. That's okay. That is an all right character to see for me. Like, as long as you can bring him down to like humanity, because she would be the other side of that, where she like brings him down to like a middle ground where it's like, okay, but you can also care about people. Right? Like, learn how to care about not only yourself, because he's just like a selfish fighter. Right? I just love to tumble. I'll fight anybody. I'm having a great time. Let's sock it to you. But then she's like, you got to fight for something. Fight for a cause. Fight for love. I don't know, something. You don't like that.
No, that's what he says. That's like.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if they come at me, you're going to get a piece of me. She's like, no, you got to come here and do this thing. And he's like, that would have all been doing a thing. I'd rather it just came to me. Kick its butt. You come at me, I kick your ass. You fly over, I kick your ass. You come too close, I kick your ass.
Yeah.
No, I want to get home to my cave of gold. That's a much more interesting character choice. Cave of gold.
My cave of gold.
I want to go home because that's why I saved you, so I could go home.
So I could get home to my cave of gold? No, doesn't make any sense,
I'm not going to fight for you because I want to get home to my cave of gold. It's like, well, you don't know how to get to your cave of gold. But I'm not doing what you want me to do.
But still, I'm going to try to do that.
So then they're like, you better fight for us or we eat the girl. And they're like, okay. Guess I'm fighting for you.
All right. I guess we'll do it. Yeah, it's fine.
Shouldn't he jump out the window? Shouldn't he run away?
That's his thing, right? Like, he just tries to escape by fighting because he loves to fight.
So now he gets to spend some time with Deja, and she's all like, war sucks. And she's all like, but sometimes war is the noblest of pursuits. You're like, what?
Yeah, which is, I don't know about that.
And she's like, the density of your bones, that's how you're jumping. And then she's like, but so you should come work for me. And then he's all like, I'm not for hire.
Which is confusing because...
What are you?
Well, yeah, like, what are you doing? Like, you're fighting... I don't know. So
then we figure out that they do cosmology, and they're like, you're on Barsoom, you call it Mars. You're from Jassoom, that's what we call Earth. And they're like, oh. Then he shows her the medallion, because of course you're going to show her the medallion, and she's all like, you're a Thurn. But we should go to the magic temple that we're not allowed to go to.
Right.
We're like, why do they have a Thurn temple, and why are they not allowed to go to the Thurn temple?
Yeah, why are the green people in charge of it? You know what I mean? Like, how does she know about their sacred temple? I don't know. It's very confusing. I'm just asking some questions here, Dan.
I don't know why why would they have a temple to a goddess they don't worship? I don't know. Maybe they, I don't know.
Super weird.
They go to the temple, they see some writing, and they realize, oh, we should go to the gates of Ist. That's where the magic can happen. And she's like, I could take you there. And he's all like, we got a deal. Then they get caught. And I was like, oh. Ugh. And then they get caught, so they get put in a tent. And then Tars goes in there, and Tars like, why don't you just go out the back of the tent?
You're right. Like, I never thought about that. Tents. Weird, right? I mean, I thought they were impenetrable. We can only go in and out the flap.
So in the 30 seconds that they go out the back of the tent, the other guy comes in, they're all gone. The bad guy's like, I guess we'll not go look for them.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work. It's dark out. You got to get to bed. The earlier you go to bed, the earlier you can rise and start the next day. Good for him. He's just being a good leader.
This movie is just endless capture, uncapture without any effort.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, 100%. It's funny at first, right? Like that first scene is funny.
No,
to me. You don't think it's funny?
No.
When he's in the jail with Cranston and he tries to escape, he gets pulled back.
Oh, that one was funny.
That's funny. What you don't realize is that that's the setup for the entire movie.
Yes.
That's where it becomes less funny because you're like, oh, wait, that's the only trick you know how to do is you're just going to do that over and over because you don't know how to craft a story.
Let me tell you the same joke again. So they start writing, and then she's just making him go the wrong way. And then, so then he's like, I'll leave you here to die. Uh-huh. And then she's all like, okay, now I'll take you the right way. Meanwhile, back on the moving city, the Therns tell the bad guy that you gotta marry her. He's all like, oh, I guess so.
Yeah, so their plan is to marry her and then kill her, and then that will make him like give him the sympathy vote and people will love him. I didn't understand the plan, if I'm being honest. Okay, great. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so Seb, the bad leader, he likes, I would go on my own in my little helicopter to go talk to them. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't care. They get to Is, which is a lake, but it's not really a lake, it's a river. And then Sola's like, okay, I'm going to die. And they're like, no, you're going with us. And we're like, but we're all going to the same way. Like, I don't understand.
I didn't understand either because he stops her from getting on a boat.
And then puts her on the boat.
And then they get on a boat. Yeah, like it's very confusing. I didn't understand. Like he runs over there like it's bad. He's like, no, stop, get on my boat. I'm like, okay, that's a bizarre turn that I didn't see coming.
So they go there, they find this big tree structure. He jumps up there with her, then doesn't take Sola with her, just leaves her down in the boat for unknowable reasons.
Because she's not actually coming with him. You know what I'm saying?
They go in there and it all lights up. It lights up with where he steps for an unknowable reason.
Right. Because he's an Earthman. They get
to the magic chamber and they put the medallion in there, and the medallion says, oh, here's the magic words. And they're just like, can't read those words. I need a book.
What I will say is there was a nice little joke here, Dan. I told you I didn't write down all the jokes, but I did write down one of them. And he asks her, what does it say? She's like, I have no idea. I don't know how to read it. And he goes, okay, well, what do you think it says? And I was like, that's a funny line that nobody ever thinks of. Like, just take a guess, lady. Just do your best here, okay? We're working with nothing. Like, that's funny. That's a funny line.
It's a good joke. So then they're like, okay, we got to leave. And then a bunch of new green
right. Who are these people?
This is just another tribe of green men.
Okay. They look bigger and scarier.
They might be the plant men. I don't know. There are supposed to be plant men that live here too.
Plant men, really? Okay.
Yeah, there are plant men. Yeah, there's black Martians, white Martians, or the white apes, and I think there might be purple Martians, all kinds of colors of Martians.
And then the vegans. Got it.
Then the plant men. So they're like, let's escape in the boat. You're like, huh?
To where? I don't.
They go back. They go back to where they started.
Right, but like it's a stream. It's a river. So like I know where you're going. First of all. Second of all, are you now going upstream? Because you're going to go real slow. The escape plan doesn't work for me, is all I'm saying. Because I would just go to the front where the mouth, is that what, right? The mouth of the river. And then I've got you. I found you. You're done.
You mean like this horde should be able to get ahead of them?
Not only, they could just walk. They could walk along with them and be like, yep, we still see you. We'll see you in 5 minutes.
John Carter puts his arm in the water and goes like this. Right?
Speedboat. How did he do that? It must be the density of his bones.
The density of his bones. Boom, boom, boom. Solar system. Oh wait, they had a kiss in the secret place.
Oh, okay, great. That must explain the marriage coming.
That's when they fell in love. Right there, he fell in love with her.
Yeah, like We're going too fast.
When does he fall in love with her? That's a question.
I don't know. I think when he asked her to marry him, I think that was when he was like, you know what? I love you. Let's get married.
That's the best time to do it. They take the boat back. Then they have a big chase. Then we see the flashback. During this chase, we see the flashback of his home being burned in the Civil War and his wife and maybe a child. Maybe
for sure a child. Yeah, no, his daughter. Yeah, they're dead.
I couldn't watch the flashbacks because they just were so stupid.
Yeah, no, they are. They're absolutely stupid, and also not. You don't need it. You don't need it because here's the thing: is he should grow organically, right? Like we don't need flashbacks to be like, oh, well, this is who he was and why he's damaged, and now he's turning the corner because he's going to save her. Just let him save her. Like he's been a selfish guy. Selfish. I'm Han Solo now. I'm gonna do something for love. I don't know. It's unnecessary.
Well, Han Solo's like, yeah, I'm here for the gold. What do you think I'm here for? Then he comes back and he's all like, yeah, I didn't want to miss all this fun. You need me.
Yeah.
He had to one up the whole situation. And you're like, oh, that makes sense.
100%.
He's a cool dude. He's like,
he is cool.
I'm leaving.
He's cooler than cool.
Okay,
Ice
so
cold.
Oh god. So John Carter's like, you guys keep going. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to fight the entire horde. So he fights the entire horde and almost
pretty
wins.
Well. Like he does a really good job, which is very confusing, Dan, because he's been captured 4 or 5 times by those types of creatures, right?
Yep.
How is he now able to kill 100 of them? It doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a real, we need to have a baseline of what his skills are.
He's gotten better because he's been here longer.
Has he?
Yes.
He hasn't done anything.
He's been here like a week, so his fighting is much, much better. He's gotten his moves all finely tuned.
Well, so if that was the case, if he was getting better at understanding his body, and we saw him do that, get better at using those things to his advantage, I'm on board.
You mean
right? But we don't see that.
When he jumped from the boat up to there, he should have said something like, "See, getting better at this jumping."
Great. Yeah, something. Anything. Give me anything to say that he's like, I'm figuring this place out, and now I know how to use this to my advantage.
He takes the sword and he goes like this, flips it, and he's like, ha ha, look at this. And he could just say this a simple line, I'm getting used to this gravity. And then when he's fighting, he's like, I'm getting really good at this gravity. And we're like, oh my God, he just told us he's getting good at this thing.
Right. Like, okay, he's figuring his shit out. Yeah.
But you see, that would involve writing lines that lead us along this path.
Lines are tough. Lines are tough.
Show, don't tell. But you should also tell a little also, so that when you are showing us, we know what the fuck is going on.
I like to call it show and tell, which was a great thing back in the day. Show and tell, baby.
Zendaya, Dad lands his airship. There's Deja. She's all like, hey, Dad, how's it going? And then here comes Seb of Zendaya, and he's all like, I came alone. I'm a harmless little man.
I love you.
I love you. Here's my sword. You could just kill me. I'm helpless. And she doesn't kill him. Why doesn't she kill him?
I would kill him immediately. I'm going to tell you right now, Dan, I would kill him immediately. He's killed a bunch of people, and he's just like, you can kill me. Be like, great. Thank you.
Kill.
What a wonderful gesture. I appreciate it. Head's gone.
No, you love this movie, so explain to me why they didn't do it.
I don't love the movie. I'm just saying it's not that bad. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Of course it's not the worst movie, but it's just like, it's so worth. It's just, this is like Hollywood bloated excess. They want to, I want to blame the marketing campaign. It's like, no. You guys sat in a room and you wrote this garbage. You wrote it. It's
called The Perfect Storm, Dan. Nothing went right for this movie. Not a single step on the way was like, this is going to work, everybody.
Okay, so she's all like, I guess I'll marry you because you stood there.
That's it. Just cuz, period.
John Carter wakes up. He's in Zendaya. he jumps over a building, and there's Deja. She's all like, I'm getting married. And she's all like, you're hot. And she's all like, will you fight? And I could have sent you home. And then she gives him the magic words. She's all like, here's the magic words. I'm getting married. Yeah. Nobody loves me. Woe is me.
Boo.
You never loved me. You won't fight for me.
I've known you for 4 days, lady. I need you to take a step back and chill out.
You've saved my life multiple times, but you don't love me.
Listen, I like you just fine. Okay. Love's a little strong right now. I'm going to choose myself right now. Okay. So I'm going to need you to chill out.
It's almost like he could have said, I used to be married. I lost the woman I loved in war. I don't love it. Do I want this happening again?
Yeah,
he's all right. He couldn't have said some words that would have
sure,
know, because I gotta tell you, when I watch a movie, like in the middle of the fight scene, I usually don't get super emotional. But when a person says we're a team, now we're a team. Did I tell you we're a team? Now we're a team. And then they all put their hands in there and they're like, we're a team. And then the other guy's like, we're a team. And then we're a team. And then the one guy who's been holding out, played by Alan Rickman, he's like, we're a team. And you're just like, yes, Alan, they've got Alan Rickman finally. Finally, Alan Rickman said he's on the team.
To victory!
And that's when I get emotional. Words.
Yeah, of course.
Words are what makes you emotional. This movie's like, yeah, I don't think I should vocalize anything that's really happening. I think I'm going to internalize it all, and I'm going to tell you about it via flashback to characters we've never met that we don't care about of a time of this guy's life that we're never going to see more of.
100%.
And we're gonna do little tiny clips of it that are interspersed through the whole movie, like that's building up some tension. Because man, I really wonder what happened in the war that he can't. Of course, it's his family getting killed. We all knew that from the beginning. For the first time, a little girl's blonde hair flew in the wind.
When you see her the first time, you're like, oh well, she's dead. She's obviously dead. Otherwise, he'd be with her. It's so weird. Yeah.
They think they're building some sort of tension. You know what they're not doing?
You're not.
Not doing anything.
You're not, guys. Sorry.
Okay. So there's his he didn't teleport, then they burst in, and they're like, let's do the wedding, and then the Thurn walks in there and zaps him. And then now we have this weird scene where the Thurn keeps changing forms from dude to old lady to Thurn, which I think that's happening, right?
Oh, interesting. I think it's not happening.
You think it's not happening?
I do. I think that when we see, I swear his name is Mark Shepard. When we see the Thurn in Thurn shape, I think that's just the movie being like, don't forget, this is actually this person. Don't forget this.
But he changes.
But they look like this.
He changes into a dude and an old woman. Why don't you just
he does. He definitely changes form between that old woman and a young warrior guy. But I don't think he ever really does the Thurn shape. I think that is just an indication for, I don't know, Dan. I don't know.
Let me go back, though. The Thurn has him in like a little car, and there's a guy driving. He's in like a little taxi, and he's like, I will just walk. They get out of the little taxi. I was like, that's
okay. That's a good joke.
Why do we have a little taxi? Why is that?
I don't know.
So
but it's kind of funny.
Basically, he tells the whole story where it's like, we're in charge of everything. We make, the weird thing is there's so many like sort of Dune things, right? I think they were kind of ripping off Dune.
Sure. Yeah, I can totally understand that.
Because that's how the Bene Gesserit are. They like, well, we breed them and we control everything from behind. And he's kind of doing that, and you're just like, but it's dumb.
Well, because it doesn't actually make sense in the world that they've built. I don't think. Like
we feed off of destruction. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything because it's not really. Because honestly, if they let the guy in charge, he's going to take over the whole world, right? And then there's no more war. So if they feed on, I don't know. It's very confusing to me. I don't understand the plan.
Thanos' plan is really not dumb, but it's like, it's weird. It's weird. It's simple and it's so particularly weird.
Sure.
That you're like, everyone can stand there and say,
I'm just going to get rid of half the people.
Yeah, you can sit there and go like, it's not going to make things better. And he's going to be like, nah, I'm doing it because it's my plan.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's not going to? Because it might. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot.
It's weird. It's this super weird motivation, and you buy it because it's like this one guy. But this guy's like, our whole race is doing this. And you're like,
right? Why?
Huh?
What, are you that bored? I don't understand. Like, what is the purpose for you? What do you get out of it other than just like, man, we get to watch it happen? I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely monsters that feed on things. We feed on fear. We feed on this.
Oh, yeah.
You say that, then we got to see that somehow. Like when the thing is happening, he's all like, he's feeding,
sucking in the destruction.
Yeah, but no, these guys are like, we're dispassionate. They just let things happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it.
Why isn't he killing John Carter right now?
Because they're afraid that you don't understand the movie yet, Dan. So they need him to walk through town and explain the whole plot.
Yeah, it's like at least like they have James Bond on the the laser thing that's going to cut off his dick, and then the rest of him.
Bad news.
You do that, and then he gets a phone
John's
call.
Just
he's like,
walking.
Gotta get a phone call. He's like, I'll just walk you around until you can escape.
Yeah. It's really nice of him, actually.
And then Walla, the dog, runs up there and bites him.
Yeah. I don't know. Where's the dog been for the last 2 hours?
He was way over there, so he's run.
He was
run.
really far away because he moves very quickly. But
I think he
got there.
He sees him, right? Isn't that how he sees him? He's like,
yeah, because I think he's in the parade somewhere or something. I don't know.
So John Carter steals one of their flying machines. Tony.
Yes.
You're relatively intelligent.
Okay. I mean, that was nicer than it could have been, but still a lot meaner than it needed to be. Okay, Dan?
there you are on the airplane field. The Nazis are coming. There's a Cessna 120 right in front of you. You hop into the Cessna.
In the cockpit.
How do you think you'd do flying the Cessna?
I think flying would be fine.
Oh, yeah.
I think that
lodging.
I think that turning it on and then figuring out how to go and then taking off, though, that would be where I died. I would not. First of all, the plane wouldn't even start. I'd be flipping every button that I can see. Nothing. No propellers moving. I don't know what's going on, and then I'm dead because I've been in there for 5 minutes just pushing buttons. I think if it was already in the air. And it was more of like, God forbid, a hijack situation, right? Where I had to come and fight all the hijackers. And then I had to fly the plane. I could do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's it.
Do you know what the choke is?
I mean, I know what the choke is on a lawnmower. So I assume it's the same.
So you at least know what the choke is. Because it's like, I know every time I've been in something and they talk about the choke, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay. I mean, it's just, a lawnmower. It's just a little thing that I got to push to like pump it up. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you do the choke sound at the beginning so that there's something going on.
It injects fuel or air or something into the something that helps the engine start. So when you said, do you know what it is? I don't, like I said, I know how to use it on a lawnmower. I don't know exactly what it does. I don't know what other things use it, but I know what it does on a lawnmower.
And I think with like a Cessna or a little plane, you got to do the choke. And it's like,
beep, 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 that's how I would start.
I have to watch a YouTube video to see how hard it is to actually turn on a plane.
I mean, it's probably easy if you know what to do.
Yeah.
But figuring it out, it's not like it's going to be labeled like step 1, push this button 3 times. Okay, great. Step 2, turn this thing this way. That's not the way it works.
And we have cars and all sorts of things. You know what this idiot's done? He's ridden a horse. the machine he's dealt with is a gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Not even like a good one. Like
he's
the old. He's putting the thing. He's throwing the musket. I don't know. Whatever you do, put the BBs in the thing and shove it down with a pipe. I don't know.
Exactly. So he figures out how to do this, and then we have like the weird pod racing scene where he like flies around.
Yeah. Not as good. Not as good.
Not as good. Then he flies all the way back to the Tharks.
Yeah, which does he know where that is?
I'm going to tell you something, Tony.
Okay, please.
When you try and figure out the world from above, it's a completely different situation. You look down on the world from above, try to figure out where the fuck you're going. You never get. I always remember when we fly into LA, you're like, oh, there's a freeway. And you say to yourself, what freeway is that? And you go like, I have fucking no idea what freeway we're flying over.
I don't know where I am. Is this home? I don't know.
And then when you finally get over the 405, you're like, oh yeah, that's the 405. Even though those 7 other freeways I thought were the 405. That's the 405 because we're like
that's
1 foot above it. You don't know where you are. You don't know where you are in LA. You could look down and see that.
The 110, the 105, the 10. I don't know the difference.
There's Brea. You don't know where the fuck Brea is. Not a chance in hell. Especially if you're like a Civil War guy. You don't know any. But somehow he flies 100%. All the way back.
And directly to them. Like, it's not like he's wandering around for a while and then just finally figures it out. He knows exact coordinates that he's heading towards. Now, Dan, let's take a step back here because I looked up what the choke is because I want to clear it up for everybody. The engine choke is a device that controls the air-fuel ratio in an internal combustion engine. So I was pretty close with the air and the gas. I was close.
You open up the choke if you want a lot of something going in, and then
right. I don't know which one is which.
You modulate it at a certain point.
I feel like the more choke, the more gas.
Yeah.
But it controls, it controls the mixture of the two.
So he gets back there. They throw him in chains, and they're like, "You gotta fight in the arena." They go to the arena. He and Tars and Sola and this other woman. That was like the one funny part is they released 2 white apes. This other woman's like giving Sola shit, and Sola like throws them both into there, and then that woman gets snapped in half. That was funny.
Torn right in half. And I was like, okay, good for you. We don't really have that sort of thing very often in this movie, so I enjoyed it.
John Carter kills both of the apes, and then he kills the leader of the Tharks, and then he's in charge.
Yeah, so hold on. So he kills the 2 apes, which is fine, right? Like, it was underwhelming, but it's fine, right?
Yep.
Then he calls the leader
to
a duel.
Yeah, you always got to do that.
That's like a big deal. Yeah. Like, that's a huge deal in their culture, and it is over in 2 seconds. That is like the buildup of this entire storyline is taking over this group of people, and it's just the fight starts. He jumps down, John Carter jumps up, and you're like, oh shit, we're gonna have an epic battle, and he just cuts that off, and then we're just done. We're just out into the next scene. It was really jarring to me. I did not like it.
It's almost as if this had all happened at the beginning of the movie. He'd have to move up through the ranks of this thing and prove himself, and then you'd have been like, whoa. Now he
look at this guy. He's figuring it out.
Does he deserve? That's the question. Does he deserve to lead these people?
Not even a little bit. It's almost like sacrilegious. It's like an affront to their people at this point. I don't understand why they all cheer for him, because he's like, who will give me their blade or whatever before he does the challenge, and they all are like, yes, this guy's the best. Why? Why do they like him?
Because he killed the 2 apes and then he killed the dude.
Oh, 2 apes. Big deal, guy. I don't know. It's dumb.
I'm telling you this, Tony. You're not going to win against 1 ape, so don't give him too much. Don't give
I'll tell you, Dan, I'll tell you what. 3 apes. I'll take on 3 apes right now.
Do torso jot. And then actually the thing that I hated the most in this movie, Tars Tarkus.
The salute. I don't know. It's kind of cute because
So stupid.
I think it would be better if John Carter was better at saluting. Did you know his salute is so sloppy?
Oh, really?
He, like, that's like a weird like thing like this. It's like it's not a salute. Like you gotta really give it the tip of the hat to you, sir. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Okay, so the wedding's taking.
But also, why is he saluting? He has sworn off his army days. Why is he even saluting?
I don't.
All right. Anyhow,
so the wedding is happening. So he's all like, "I'm gonna fly there and fix it," and the Tharks are all like, "We don't like flying." So he's like, "I'm going it alone." So he goes there, flies all the way there, crashes.
Here's my question. Wait, pause.
Yeah.
How was he trying to get them all to fly with him? I didn't understand it.
Oh, because they have a big one. Oh no.
Why do they have a big ship if they don't fly?
Oh no, you're right. What happens is they leave Thark City, they go to Zendaya, and then they take it over, and then they learn that all the Zendayans aren't there because they're going to be taken over. They're attacking Helium.
Oh, that's right.
And so then they're able to take over that whole city, which of course, with the Tharks taking over that whole city, that makes the wedding and all that stuff completely moot, right? He no longer has a city.
That's right. Like, we have it. We're in control, guy.
Yeah.
So
no matter
GFY,
what, we just burned down your whole city.
Get your shit and get out.
Yeah, even if they were to take over Helium, it's like, well, you don't have your city either. It's a wash.
So now you're back to one city. Yeah, we're tied again.
And they have they have Zendaya, which is a walking city, so they can just walk over there and kick ass.
Yeah, crush it, because apparently it eats all the other cities or something like that. I don't know.
Did you ever watch Mortal Engines?
I don't know if I did. It's something I've thought about. I don't remember if I ever saw it or not.
Yeah, we'll do it at some point. It's pretty terrible.
Okay, great.
It's pretty terrible. It's like, I think it's like another one of those movies where it's like, let's take the hottest girl in the world, and then we'll give her a scar, and then she'll be like, I'm so hideous, I have to cover my face. And you're all like, no, you're super hot with a super hot scar.
Still beautiful. I don't know. Tough stuff.
Okay, so he then flies over there. He flies in and says, the bad guys are going to come. They're outside the city. And so everyone's like, oh my God, the bad guys. And then we have a big fight, and then the Tharks crash the thing through the window, and we have this horrible Disney music.
Well, it's Disney. Don't forget it's Disney.
Yeah. Does it have to?
I'm not disagreeing with you that it's terrible. I'm just saying, like, it's definitely a Disney movie. I felt that top to bottom.
Okay. There it is. So
that's not a good thing.
Basically, John Carter fights the Thurn, and then the Thurn turns into John Carter and tricks Tars into giving him the thing, and then Tars almost kills John Carter, but didn't it seem like he cut John Carter's throat? I thought John Carter was going to die.
Well, so it's just a little cut.
Oh, okay.
Just a little blood that they showed. So, like, it was close, but no cigar.
So, basically, they win the war, so they control everything. And then I looked at the thing, it's like 21 more minutes. And I'm like, 21 more minutes?
Yeah. And you're like, what is going to happen? We're done with the movie, right? Are we not?
So they get married. He propositions her. Then they get married. And then he goes to this tower and he throws away his medallion. And he's all like, I'm no longer John Carter. I'm now John Carter of Mars. And you're like, oh, that's what they wanted to call the movie. So they'll put that in here and they'll feel good about themselves. Then the Thurn's like, you're dumb. And then zaps him back to Earth.
And then it's the only interesting part of this whole movie, really.
Yeah. So basically, he spends the next 10 years looking for another medallion so he can return. He finds a medallion, and then that's when he locked himself in the thing. And then Edgar Rice Burroughs, his nephew, comes there and he figures it all out. And he's all like, oh, he wants me to open the thing, which doesn't make any sense. But Edgar Rice Burroughs goes there and he pushes like Ben, because he called him Ben or something, or Jen or Jan.
He called him Ned.
He could have called him Jen. And he opens it, and then the Thurn is behind him because the Thurn wants to get this medallion, and then John Carter's behind the Thurn, and he shoots the Thurn, and he's all like, this is how I could
Tricked
get the
you.
medallion. I didn't even find the medallion. Now I can go back and now you can
It's
start
very
guarding
smart.
me. And you were like, oh, that's tricky.
It's very smart, and I love the ending where like he lays down and then just transports out. Like I love this whole scene, and this is not a knock on the movie because I assume the book is not this either. But I would have loved more of a scene of people thinking that he's crazy and that this whole thing's in his head. I don't know. To me, that's just like an interesting thing. And then he finally gets his medallion and lays down at the end and gets transported back. I would like that. I think that'd be a nice emotional story. But anyhow,
it needed this. There's no magic in this movie.
100%. Yeah. I think he needs to like go to the planet, do all that shit, come back, and everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
In fact, maybe the movie should end with him getting sent back to Earth and waking up and just getting back to his normal life and being sad about it and like on the hunt for it. And then the second movie opens with him being crazy. Like people being like, no, you're crazy. And he finally gets it. He lays down and he gets back to where he belongs. And it's like, oh shit, this guy was right all along. I don't know. It's not great, Dan.
But you loved this movie.
I didn't love it. I just don't think it's as bad as losing as much money as it did. You know what I mean? Like it's not good.
Oh no, it lost the right amount of money. Yeah.
Okay, well then let me rephrase. I don't think it should have ruined careers because Taylor Kitsch never recovered from this.
It was pretty interesting. Lily Collins, is that her name? Her agent was like, "Oh, you better lay low for a year, not do anything," and she was all like, I'm going to lay low for a year. You're fired. She fired her agent, her manager, all of her people. And she's, I think she's had a fine career. She's not a movie star, but she's done fine.
Fine is not great. They jumped on a huge $250 million Disney tentpole, Dan.
Yeah. They
should have been megastars, and they were not. It's sad. It's sad because it's not their fault.
It's not. Oh, yeah. No. I mean, that's the thing, like you said with the sword scene where they switch the swords. He could play that guy.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
But they had him brood and not do anything. They never had fun. He was never having fun. It was always like, let's have him captured, angry, this and that and the other thing.
And he can do like the dry wit. Like he's fine with it. I mean, Friday Night Lights, great. Even in Wolverine that we watched last week, like he has some nice one-liners. Yeah. The movie again is not great, but he's not a problem. He's not a problem in it.
He can deliver the lines that are necessary. You got to give him the lines, and you got to give him something to do. Give him something to do. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's like I go back to that Deadpool movie. It's like that movie is like 3 scenes. We don't need 1,000 scenes. We don't have to travel down the river to do the this and to do the that. We can just have Deja take him back to Helium and crack open a book and give us all that information, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all we have to do. Crack a book. I don't that whole thing was just more. And I guess on this movie there were tons of reshoots because Andrew Stanton didn't understand that it was expensive to do reshoots. You're like, what?
What do you mean you didn't understand? Was this the first movie?
This is his first live action movie because he made all the stupid. He's busy making Pixar movies,
which I imagine is not that it's expensive, but at the same time, it's not like millions of dollars to be like, I'm going to redraw this scene. Ay. That's tough.
And you can always, like adding a scene in to an animated movie is just, adding 2 or 3 minutes, little monologue or something. It's expensive, but it's not live action movie, blah, 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 so whatever.
The biggest problem, Dan, with this
is
it is living in a post Pirates of the Caribbean Disney world. And when I said this feels like a Disney movie top to bottom, I mean that as an insult because Pirates of the Caribbean does not feel like a Disney movie, right? It's a movie and it's wonderful. It's a blockbuster movie. This movie needs to feel more like that movie, not like a children's Disney movie that just we threw a bunch of money at, which is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
It's you got to have some complex characters, you got to have some real humor, and you have to have some fun and some magic. And if you don't have any fun and magic, it's like I don't care about that scene.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
I don't care if Sola or Tars lives. I do not care because these characters have not spent enough time. He and Tars didn't spend any time together in this movie.
Nope.
They're best friends.
Almost at all.
That's the movie. The movie is their friendship. That's the movie.
Yeah.
And then he falls in love with her, and that causes conflict between the two of them. That's the conflict.
Sure.
The conflict is Tars wants him to fight for the Tharks. She wants him to fight for helium, and he's in the fucking middle. And Tars has kept him alive and made sure that he's surviving in this world that is different, that if you go into the temple, you will get killed. And Tars has helped him navigate through that, taught him the language, taught him what to eat, what not to eat. He's kept him alive.
Because he thinks he's going to save his people.
Because he knows the level of warrior that John is. And he's at the same time, he's making John moderate what he does so that others don't understand what he is.
Not yet. Not until we're ready to unleash.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's the other thing is, in the books, Tars is just a leader of one group. In this one, he's the leader of everybody.
He does seem that way. Yeah, he seems like
they say it because the other guy's like, "I challenge you," and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And then he falls in love. He sees Deja and immediately falls in love with her. He's all like, "Oh."
Sure. Again, totally get it.
Yeah, he's in love with her, and that's his conflict is between his friend and what he loves.
And his love.
Yeah. And he's going to pick his love, just like I will always not pick Tony. Sorry, Tony.
Are you saying it doesn't matter what the other hand is? Yeah. You're just saying no matter what. If there are two hands, I'm not going with Tony. Okay. That's good to know, Dan.
Cheese sandwich? Tony. Cheese sandwich.
I'm going to save my sandwich. Best sandwich I ever had.
So,
Jesus.
Wow, look at that. We sat here and we figured out what the movie would be about.
Wouldn't that be fun? Let's write that movie and sell it to Disney for $18.
Stupid Disney. But you know what? The truth of the matter is they're going to go back to John Carter at some point.
I mean, there's rumors, right? And I think if they do it in like a series as opposed to a movie, I think it lends itself better to that.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
There's plenty here. I mean, the Green Men are freaking amazing. And we want to see that. Yeah. I want to see it. I didn't see it in this movie.
I didn't see it at all.
Felt like I didn't see it.
Yeah.
They didn't even put him in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh boy.
What does that tell you? They didn't put him in the trailer.
That whole thing is just bizarre, man. I don't know who was making those choices, but they fudged it up. They fudged it up bad.
What do we need? More Civil War in the trailer. More Civil War.
Even though that's maybe 8 minutes of the movie, let's put all of that in the trailer. Put all of the footage from the movie in the trailer for that. So weird.
Tony, what do you got for us? What do you like this week?
We, in getting ready for the blockbuster of the year, we rewatched the original Twister. To get ready for Twisters tonight. We're going to see that tonight. Twister's good, man.
Have fun with that.
I'm going to have fun with that because Glenn Powell is a motherfucking movie star. And he could be in the worst piece of trash ever. And I guarantee you two things. One, I will still love him. And two, he'll be charismatic as fuck. So I don't even care.
Here's my question for you, Tony. 30 days or less. 30 days or more. How many days it is until Twisters is available on streaming?
Hopefully less, because I want to buy it and then watch it again. How about that? I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I'm seeing it tonight.
So you want it to be such a failure that they put it up for streaming within 30 days?
It's about a failure, but some movies, get both. Some they just kind of release them both. I think it's going to do well. I got high hopes.
I have high hopes.
But we rewatched the original, and it's a delight.
Hate that movie.
You hate that movie?
Hate that movie.
How you can't hate Twister? How can you hate Twister?
I saw it.
Sure. And it's
Right.
incredible. The movie's so good. I mean, Paxton, unbelievable. Mad About You. Oh, I feel bad. Helen Hunt. Sorry, Helen. My bad. Unbelievable. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Unbelievable.
Jack Black.
Yeah. He's fine. He's fine. He's fun. He's Jack.
Maybe I'll watch it again. Well,
you give it another shot. It's a very, very solid disaster movie. Dan.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? No, of course not.
Oh yeah.
It's gobbledygook, but it's fun.
That's why I hated it. And I'm gonna save one of my slots for Twisters because I don't think you're gonna pick it, but I'm sure I'm gonna pick it.
You better believe I'm not gonna pick it, but I will watch it again, baby. Please.
I got 3 things.
You have 3 things? Holy mackerel!
2 of them are more announcements than my favorite thing.
Okay.
First of all, they're doing a Rebel Moon podcast.
Who's they? Do you know who they is?
I mean, I assume it's Snyder and his crew that deals with the first one of the Jimmy robots. So it's like pre-Rebel Moon. I'm so there for that. I was like, I saw it on like one of the Twitter of these, sci-fi people, and I was like, yes, please. And everyone else like, why would they make this?
I agree with here's my question. Do you remember, I don't know, 8 years ago when Army of the Dead came out and he was like, this is a universe.
Yeah.
We're doing a prequel. We're doing an animated series. We're doing all of these things. And then that just fell apart. They did the prequel and the prequel sucked. And then it all fell apart. How is Rebel Moon the thing that is seemingly continuing to go? Because it is so much worse to me than Army of the Dead.
Think about a podcast. You could just do it, right? That's why that's why I'm intrigued. It's because there's no constraints. I mean, not that there were constraints on Rebel Moon, and that's the problem.
he got the farm. They gave him whatever he wanted.
But maybe they hired somebody good to write this, and maybe it'll
not
be
acted
chance. Good. And
Snyder is writing it. It's the same actors. They're paying millions of dollars for these voices.
No, it's like 100 years earlier or something.
Well, but is it not going to be Anthony Hopkins as the voice of the robot? You're saying it's a different robot.
Different robot, the first one.
Different. I thought it was the origins of that robot.
I wish.
Okay.
So I'm there. Okay, that's one.
That's one. When is that coming up?
Not soon enough.
Okay.
You got to watch Hundreds of Beavers. Got to go watch the trailer for Hundreds of Beavers.
This better be a horror movie about beavers.
No. It's a live action cartoon.
What the hell? Okay.
It's the greatest thing ever. I watched that this morning and it would have been my pick if I had a chance to watch it. And then last thing is I've been watching this guy on YouTube called Drew Gooden. He's like one of these funny guys. And his
guy
is his video is very funny. They're all like 20, 22 minutes long.
That's long.
That's long. We do a 4-hour movie review.
Yeah, nobody watches it. That's how I know it's long, Dan.
He's very funny. I've watched a ton of the videos this last week and very enjoyable.
Okay. All right, I'll give it a shot.
But he buys a lot of like the shit that they advertise on like Instagram and stuff.
Oh, okay. That is interesting.
He's doing one where like there's this food that's cubes. And like he bought a bunch of the food and then they're like trying it. It's like terrible.
Oh God.
He did a thing where he bought a bunch of stuff from like the Tom Brady website, the vitamins and the powders and the exercise equipment and lived the Tom Brady life for a month. Very funny.
Okay.
Very funny.
All right. I mean, those are the kind of videos that I would like to make. So I get it.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's fun.
Get to work, you lazy bastard.
Nobody cares about me eating something, Dan.
Maybe. God, what was that?
Hey, maybe. You never know.
Oh, he did one where he deconstructed Lily Singh. Have you ever heard of that person? She's like a YouTuber that they gave the Carson Daly TV show to.
What? Canadian YouTuber and television star. Nope.
Oh, man. It was like, we live in like everybody lives in these different bubbles, and sometimes you like
Sure.
enter into this other, like he talks about what's his name sometimes, Logan Paul, like
Sure.
who we know who that is, but man, there's like a world of content about that guy that we can't even comprehend.
Well, Dan, we're old. We're old people, so we're not hip with it. All right.
Because at one point in this guy's videos, he like lists off like, I really got into all these YouTubers, blah blah and blah blah and blah blah and blah blah and blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know any of these names.
I've never heard of a single thing that you're saying. What is going on? Yeah, no, that sounds right.
Okay, Tony, give us a movie for next week. Something really good.
Well, I don't know if it's really good, but it's going to be fun. This was the movie I was going to do a few weeks ago, but then got sidetracked. So I want to get back to it. One of the best sequels of all time to one of the best movies of all time. We're, of course, doing Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Never seen it.
You never saw Cruise Control? You are in for a treat, man. Robert you're going to have some fun. You're going to have a great time.
Good. I think I watched just the scene where the boat crashes into the dock and it looks so terrible. And I was like, oh my God, that looks so terrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, so I don't remember this movie. I saw this back in the day, right? Sure. I don't remember if there is like a mention of Keanu's character or if we just jump straight to Jason Patrick or like if it's just totally unrelated. I honestly don't remember, but I'm very excited about it. Like, why is Sandra Bullock on the boat? I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited about it.
How can you do that again? And maybe maybe I have seen it and I don't remember, but I don't.
I mean, there's a chance.
I'm pretty sure it came out and the word of mouth was so terrible. I just never saw it.
Well, it is 4% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's pretty bad.
Oh, I'm excited. That's going to be good.
Pretty bad.
Okay, well, if you like what you hear, give us a subscription or give us a like or leave a comment. Those are all things you can do to help support the channel.
If you wanted to support, If you don't, it's cool, man. It's good. Cool. We're no bad vibes. Good vibes all around.
If you made it this far, there you go.
I feel bad for you. You gotta get outside more. Get out and enjoy life a little bit.
Well, I'm gonna go close these windows because it's starting to get hot and I'm starting to sweat like a piggy.
Sweltering. And we'll see you next week for Speed 2 Cruise Control. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey,